Everyone talks about Iraq as an oil state now, but something huge is happening that no one's noticing. Iraq is quietly shifting away from oil dependency, and the numbers are not only surprising a broken bar, they're explosive. This could be a major turning point for the Iraqi economy and the dinar. Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Updates, the place where we look past the headlines and dive deep into what's really happening inside Iraq's economy, the markets, and of course, the future of the Iraqi dinar. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and don't miss out on updates that could reshape your perspective on Iraqi finance and investment. Today's topic is something that deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. Everyone assumes Iraq's economy starts and ends with oil. That's been true for a long time, and to be honest, it's still largely true. But that story is starting to change. Quietly, steadily, and very significantly. Iraq has been taking real steps to diversify its revenue sources. And the progress being made even in just the last year is not only promising, it's transformational. Let's look at some numbers first to understand just how serious this shift is. In 2023, only around 7% of Iraq's total revenue came from non-oil sources. That's not surprising, considering the country has long depended on oil for nearly all of its budget and exports. But fast forward to 2024, and that number has grown to 12%. That might not sound massive to the casual observer, but in fiscal policy terms that's a huge leap in just 1 year. We're talking about nearly doubling non-oil income in less than 12 months. And the momentum doesn't stop there. Based on current government strategies, policy goals, and new infrastructure already being implemented, projections show that Iraq's non-oil revenues could hit 20% by 2026. And that's the conservative estimate. Because if you dig into the systems being introduced and the volume of change we're already seeing, it's very possible that number could go even higher. A key part of that success is due to a quiet but powerful digital reform, the ASYCUDA World system. This customs and trade management platform has completely revolutionized how Iraq monitors, collects, and processes customs duties. Between January and May of 2024, revenue collected through ASYCUDA increased by 215% compared to the same period in 2023. That is a staggering jump. And it tells us that Iraq isn't just improving policy, they're implementing systems that are actually working. For decades, Iraq has struggled with weak tax enforcement, leaky customs systems, and institutional inefficiency. That's why the jump from 7% to 12% non-oil revenue isn't just about numbers, it's about systems that are finally doing their job. ASYCUDA is just one example, but it shows us that when Iraq gets serious about modernizing its economy, it gets results. Now, why does this matter so much? Because Iraq's economy has long been held hostage by the price of oil. When oil is up, Iraq does okay. When oil drops, Iraq faces budget crises, delayed public salaries, stalled infrastructure, and rising inflation. It's a cycle that creates long-term instability. Investors hate it. Citizens suffer from it. And it kills any chance of building a resilient currency. Breaking that cycle is key to rebuilding Iraq's economy. And now we're finally seeing movement in the right direction. Let's talk about natural gas for a moment. Iraq is one of the top flaring nations in the world, meaning we've been burning off massive quantities of gas during oil extraction, wasting billions of dollars of potential revenue. But in the last year, several deals have been signed with international firms, including Total Energies and Chinese energy companies, to start capturing and using that gas domestically. That's gas that can now fuel power plants, factories, and homes, reducing reliance on imported energy and saving Iraq billions annually. But it doesn't stop there. That same gas can be refined and exported, bringing in fresh income streams outside of crude oil. The natural gas sector has been on the margins of Iraq's economy for decades, but now it's finally becoming a strategic priority. If even a fraction of Iraq's flared gas is turned into exportable product, it could mean billions in new non-oil revenues every year. Then we've got agriculture, another sleeping giant. Iraq once had a thriving agricultural sector before decades of war, sanctions, and poor policy wiped it out. But now, with better irrigation programs, investments in farming machinery, and regional initiatives, we're starting to see signs of life. Wheat production is up. Domestic vegetable output is increasing. There are more government contracts now encouraging local production over imports. This is important because every time Iraq produces instead of imports, it strengthens its internal economy. It keeps dinars in the country, reduces the need for US dollars, and empowers small and medium enterprises. Agriculture doesn't just provide food, it provides jobs, market stability, and export potential. Iraq has the land, the water, and the climate. All it needed was the policy direction, and we're finally seeing that unfold. And don't sleep on mineral resources. Iraq is rich not just in oil and gas, but in phosphates, sulfur, gypsum, and even rare earth elements. The global demand for these materials is growing every year, especially with green energy and electric vehicle industries expanding worldwide. Iraq has started offering mining licenses, streamlining regulations, and partnering with international firms to tap into these reserves. In the coming years, minerals could become a completely new pillar of Iraq's economy, one that's not tied to the oil barrel. So what does all of this tell us? It tells us Iraq is finally turning the page. Slowly, carefully, but steadily. It's reducing its exposure to oil market volatility and beginning to stand on its own feet. These aren't future dreams, those are systems and industries that are already growing. And that's incredibly good news for anyone watching the Iraqi dinar, because a diversified economy builds currency strength. The dinar's weakness has always been linked to the country's reliance on oil. But with more diverse revenue sources, Iraq gains economic flexibility. It reduces inflation risk. It increases investor confidence. It creates a more stable and attractive financial environment. Now, none of this means a revaluation is guaranteed. These are still early stages. But if you've been following the dinar long enough, you know that macroeconomic reform is essential for any serious change in the currency's value. And this right now is what real reform looks like. The Iraqi government, under PM Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, is clearly putting effort into fixing the structural weaknesses that have held the country back for years. Whether it's customs automation through ASYCUDA, natural gas monetization, agricultural revival, or the mining sector, those moves are building the foundation for an Iraq that can finally be stable, resilient, and prosperous beyond oil. So while the rest of the world might still see Iraq as just another oil-dependent economy, you and I know better. We see the shift. We see the numbers. We see the systems. We see the strategy. The transformation is happening, and it's moving faster than most realize. Alright, that's going to wrap up this deep dive into Iraq's journey away from oil dependency and what it could mean for the country's future and for the Iraqi dinar. If you found this breakdown helpful, eye-opening, or just plain interesting, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this video, and most importantly, subscribe to Iraqi dinar updates for more insights just like this. This is where we go beyond the noise and bring you the facts that matter. The economy, the numbers, the policy, and what it all means for your outlook on Iraq and your investment decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.